Hey everybody, Mike here with a quick review for BRZRKR Bloodlines by Keanu Reeves, Steve Skroce, Mattson Tomlin, Rebekah Isaacs, Dave Stewart, and D. Cunniffe. I just read this last night. It's not something that we're going to be doing a review for the podcast. However, it is related to, a story that we did cover. So I thought I would go ahead and give a quick review just on my own of it. The long and the short of it is that it's short. It's only 2 issues collected in trade. You can see how thin it is here. I don't know that that's necessarily Boom cheaping out on us. I think that they just had 2 additional one-shots related to BRZRKR, and so they decided to go ahead and publish them, together in a trade. They are double-sized issues, so you get a little bit more bang for your buck. Although it was $19.99, which may be about $5 too much for this much content. The first issue in here actually covers BRZRKR in an ancient kingdom, as he is defending the king of Atlantis, which is a pretty cool setting. But we very quickly find out that there in that kingdom there is sort of a cult that worships Cthulhu. Yes, the H.P. Lovecraft Cthulhu. And so they have done their best to resurrect him because they think that he's going to save the kingdom. So, B or Unut is forced to take down Cthulhu from the inside out. He gets eaten by him, and he had basically taken an oath to protect the king of this country because that king had had his family slaughtered as a child, and B took pity on him and decided, I'm going to defend this boy because it kind of mirrors his own backstory. And again, if you want more info on that, you can check out our episode on BRZRKR that we uploaded last year. So, pretty cool story. It's, it's another good reason to kind of justify the violence behind the character because we have him fighting an actual Lovecraftian horror, as part of the story. So that was definitely a fun one. And then the next story, which is entitled Fallen Empire, has a different penciler and colorist and everything, and it has him more competing in gladiator battles, and there's a king that discovers that he can't be killed and decides, well, I want to use him as a tool to defend my kingdom. But again, at this point in his history, he'd already been down that path. He was like, I'm tired of doing this. I'll find some other way to unleash my violence. And long story short, the king's wife ends up pretending to betray him, going out into the wilderness with B, again, or Unut, depending on what you want to call him, and, shacking up with him. And eventually, they fall in love, and there's a story there, but ultimately she's manipulating him in order to kill the enemies of the king's empire. So this one a little bit more of a kind of a straightforward barbarian, immortal barbarian story. Not quite as interesting to me as the first one. I did see the queen's turn, her betrayal coming a long ways away, but unfortunately, because B is so thorough as a force of nature, he ends up murdering all of her countrymen from the country that she was originally taken from, because that was the enemy of the king in the beginning of the story. So the kingdoms featured in these stories are fictional, which is kind of cool because that allows the writer and the artist to really just kind of make up visuals. I don't know how well you can see that, but yeah, I mean, that kind of lends it more to the fantasy elements. There are a couple of times that they mention the alien energy or the alien influence, the sort of sci-fi angle that was brought up in the BRZRKR series proper. You will see electricity coming out of B's eyes a couple of times. Again, to reference that sort of blue bird that came down to bestow him with his immortality and his bloodlust. So again, no great strokes in that second story, but it kind of ties in nicely, and they're also just kind of some fun one-shots to sort of fill out the universe and his 80,000-year history a little bit more. I gave the original BRZRKR title a 5 out of 5, but for this one, I think I'm going to go with a 3.5 out of 5. I really enjoyed the sort of attack against the eldritch horror in the first story, but the second story was, you know, kind of more of a standard gladiator hero's journey type thing, and I don't know, it's just something that I've seen 100 times before, so it was implemented very well. So I'm not gonna grade it points down for being, you know, poorly written, but just the concept itself wasn't anything too exciting. So I think it's gonna be 3.5 bananas out of 5 for me. And before we wrap up, we can go ahead and take a look at some of the variant covers in the back. If we can get to them here. Here we go. This is always something that I enjoy doing, is looking at all the variants. So this is the art of Steve Skroce, who's the primary artist on Bloodlines. This is an alternate issue for that story, Poetry of Madness, that features Zabata, the priestess that was a part of that story, and also a very good profile of Keanu Reeves. We've got David Aha, who is the artist behind the Hawkeye, both the titles on the series and also the why does it escape me, the Marvel series for which that Disney Plus show is based on. This is Fallen Empire #1, Rebekah Isaac's color by Jordi Belair. It's the queen that betrayed him. This is a really great cover. I don't know how well you can see this. By Joëlle Jones. She's probably one of my favorite artists that's come out of DC in the last few years. Has a really impeccable sense of drawing fabric and clothing and things like that. And then finally, we have this last variant cover by Jenny Frison for BRZRKR Fallen Empire #1. So, you know, everybody go check BRZRKR Bloodlines out. If you can find it on sale, that's probably better, because, again, this is about an hour-long read all told. Maybe more if you're reading it critically like I was and trying to, you know, kind of make a statement about it. So, but I still would recommend it, you know, even though it's only out of 5. So, yeah. Everybody, thanks for listening, and stay tuned for more cool stuff on the channel coming soon.